Good morning, everyone. I'm very excited to have Dr. Syed Hussein Ahmadinejad today with us from Nuli. Hi, Dr. Syed.
Hello, Julia.
Can you introduce yourself to our audience?
Sure. My name is Syed. I'm a senior identity and access management architect at Nuli. We are located in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and almost since 2008, when I started my master's program, till now that I'm working for Nuli, I've been working on security, privacy, and identity and access management problems. So that's kind of my passion and work and research interests both.
Oh, wonderful. Well, could you tell us a little bit more about Nuli and the problems you're solving?
Sure. So at Nuli, our area of expertise is identity and access management. So let me quickly explain what that means. Identity and access management is mainly about a platform that allows you to identify users, devices, smart devices, smart sensors, and in general, anything. And then it allows those with the right privileges to access protected resources. So in some sense, it basically enables secure data sharing. And this problem has been there forever, identity and access management problem, but challenges have been evolving over time. And, one big challenge is always, for example, data volume. So at Nuli, we have, over time, we have deployed over 1 billion identities on behalf of our clients. And we have more than 100 clients globally. So that is what we do, and we provide identity and access management solutions, and we are trying to use innovative ideas and innovative solutions to these problems.
So why exactly do you need a graph technology to solve these problems?
As I said earlier, the challenges of identity and access management, they have been changing over time. Just as an example, a few years ago, the idea of IoT, Internet of Things, was proposed. And then companies started building IoT platforms. And that was the time when we started noticing that, okay, now relationships and connections between identities is of great significance, both for providing some services for customers as well as for the purpose of access management. Just as a quick example, you can imagine something like a building management company that, they maintain smart devices in buildings. And just imagine someone like a city manager who is managing buildings in different cities and buildings. And now let's say a city manager is trying to read a thermostat in a certain building. And you want to, decide whether that is allowed or that request should be rejected, from access management point of view. So you have to start from the city manager, go to all the cities he's managing, and then buildings, different levels of the buildings, and then finally find that a smart thermostat. And traditionally, if you want to use a relational database for this purpose to model such data, then you have to do multiple join operation. And we all know that joins in relational databases, they are very expensive, and this is not scalable. So then we decided to bring this data to Neo4j, which is a native graph database. And it basically, Neo4j lets us to effectively navigate all these relationships from the city manager to that thermostat to answer that query. So that was when we started using Neo4j, and we have done that in multiple projects, and it is performing very well. So that was the first reason we started using Neo4j in the context of identity and access management.
Very interesting. So do you use Neo4j and knowledge graphs for data analytics too?
Yes. So data analytics in general has been used in identity and access management previously. And they usually use it for providing some insights for, let's say, higher managers in a company. But we've been able to use it for different purposes. Just again, as another example, in one project, we actually we were dealing with a company that were using a role-based access management system. And so they had users, they had all these roles and entitlements for those users, and all these protected resources. So the roles and entitlements, they were giving permissions to users to do something on those resources. But the problem they had was that they had too many roles and entitlements, and many of them have been assigned just randomly based on access requests to those users. So two problems. One, maintaining such a system was so hard, and also they were not sure whether these roles are assigned properly and they actually make any sense. So what we needed to do, we needed to basically run some sort of data analytics algorithms against the data in Neo4j to first find those outliers, those entitlements that are not similar to any other entitlement. And that tells us something about the role or entitlement. So this is part of the access certification. And the other goal was to basically simplify the problem. We were able to, for example, use community detection algorithms using the Graph Data Science library provided by Neo4j to group these entitlements to larger roles, to more meaningful roles. And that simplified the problem significantly. So yes, we definitely run data analytics algorithms against our data.
Mm, interesting. So how do you see the future of Neo4j in identity access management?
I believe the more people start realizing the significance of relationships between identities and, all those connections, the more they start thinking about migrating data from traditional databases to graph databases like Neo4j. And I think we are already seeing that. We see that, in different industries, people are understanding that they need to, look at all these connections between different entities to be able to provide more added values for their customers. And that is also telling us that even from identity and access management point of view, that is the new trend. And for that reason, I believe that we will see more and more companies and clients moving from traditional databases to Neo4j.
Well, thank you, Dr. Ahmadinejad, for this insightful conversation. Really happy to have you with us today. And until next time.
Oh, thank you for having me.